Well, it has been no shortage of exciting news around the Scotiabank Saddledome over the course of this offseason, and it continues here today. Another special edition of the Flames TV Podcast. Brendan Parker alongside Ryan Dietrich, and our special guest today happens to be one of the great Flames of all time, and that is Jarome Iginla, who has now officially joined and rejoined the organization as a special advisor to the general manager. Jarome joins us now from his home in Kelowna, and first off, obviously, congratulations, Jarome, and exciting times around these parts, I would imagine, in that household as well.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Brendan. Thanks, Ryan, for having me. And yeah, very excited. First of all, earlier I was thrilled to see Craig Conroy get the job, and then we've always remained really good friends and had played together and always shared a lot of hockey ideas together. So it was exciting. And when he asked me to join him, we always talked way back when about possibly working together and about one day and over the bus trips and the plane trips and literally just talking hockey and debating things. And we always talked about it. So thrilled when the opportunity came, and I'm excited about it and look forward to being involved and staying, in hockey. It's love it.
You said it there, and it's actually one of the first lines in the press release, hot off the presses, by the way. It's awesome about you and Connie talking about this. You mentioned it. Did this whole idea of one day working together in a business capacity, when did that really start? Was that literally in your playing days?
Oh, literally. Yeah, literally. We always, in Camilleri, we used to, different guys, tags, we'd always share ideas and debate about other teams. And, you talk a little bit about your own and what direction we can do and everything. But, it's easier to just talk hockey in general and what's going on in the league about other guys and what they're doing successful and not. And we just have a passion for hockey, so I was really, truly earlier when I was, hoping for Connie to get the job. It wasn't, oh, hey, so I can just join him. And you know what I mean? It really wasn't. I really think he's the right guy for the job. And I was very excited. I was thrilled when the Flames hired him. I think he's put in his time. I know he loves hockey. I know he's a very, very hard worker. And then this was one where if that came about down the road, if there was a spot, it was, hey, you know what I mean? It wasn't a thought like that at the time. It was more just really happy for him. And, but I look forward to working with him and ways I can, try to help him. And he's got to let me, he's busy. He's got a lot on his plate. Just hired new coach, the draft coming up, RFAs, UFAs, all the buyout windows. I can imagine when you look at how many things a GM really has to go through. So, I'm waiting to hear and we share a little bit, but with just how I can try to help them and ways I can try to, be a resource for them.
Maybe, and I'll dive in more on Connie here in just a second, but maybe just for you and obviously this organization, this city, had played a huge role in your hockey career, your playing days, to now have an opportunity to have kind of an impact again in whatever form that might be now and moving forward. But just, how exciting is it to get back into the NHL and specifically this organization?
Yeah, it's very special and it's a huge honor. And I thank ownership for giving me the opportunity and to be involved again with the Flames. And it's something that, got to play there for 16 years, got to grow up there, got to come in at, I 18 turning 19 and play till, mid 30s and really just literally grew up there. So it's something that a lot of memories, a lot of friendships, a lot of guys still are in the organization that were there over the years and friendships. And, I'm always, pulling for the Flames, but it's pretty cool to now be able to be back working with them and trying to help in any way I can for them to be successful. And they got great fans, as and the passion. And, I always think of times when they never get enough credit. Like you hear a lot about different Canadian markets, different fans around the league, but the Flames fans are as passionate as anybody and knowledgeable and love it and supportive. And it's a cool organization to be a part of.
Does that kind of bring the hunger back right away? I mean, we saw it the other day, the Stanley Cup's awarded. We know that you've obviously been around rinks your entire life and still are to this day, but being back in this capacity in the NHL, do you kind of feel fired up already just knowing that possibility of, winning championships is again potentially on the horizon here with this team?
Yeah, and it's something that, yeah, you watch it on TV, you watch Vegas win. Every year when you watch somebody win, you imagine like you know how that feels, and you know how it feels at different levels a little bit, and how much fun they're having and how they get to share it through all the people involved, family, friends, the organization. It's very special, and it's hard earned, and congratulations to them. But it does get that feeling going that you'd love to be a part of that one day, and also think back, and now you get to see the different sides. And since I've been out of hockey for 6 years, I've been very, very blessed to still stay in it and stay involved. And my kids, I've gotten to coach them. Our daughter is 18, 16. Jade's 18, Tija's 16, and Joe is 14. And they're almost the next year they turn right away. But it's been awesome. It's been able to be involved. It's been able to be at rinks. And I've got some different perspectives that I didn't have before. I've gotten to see a little bit more on the development side. I'm at a really good hockey academy. I'm a little biased, but I think it's one of the top ones in Canada for youth hockey at Rink Kelowna. So I get to see how they're doing skating, how they're, and over the years, and work with skills coach, and my kids work with skills coaches and pick up a little bit here and there, and also just follow some of the progressions of the different hockey players. So it's been neat. I haven't been out of it. I've been involved in it, and it's kind of funny. And I mean, I've been doing it since I was really young, and I'm thrilled to get a chance to continue to do that. And I've enjoyed it. And some people would say, well, man, you should do other stuff and everything. And I enjoy it, Yeah. So it's been good. It's a passion, and I look forward to getting to continue it. And it's a huge honor to do it with the Flames.
Well, when you're good at something, you got to stick with it, right? I mean, that's kind of, you got to
just see that through.
See it through. Yeah. Yeah, I know you're going back to the Rink Hockey Academy as well for this next summer, upcoming season, coaching Joe too. Maybe just you touched on it briefly, but just what's that meant? Both maybe on the development side, as you've seen, some really top prospects come through there over the last few years, playing, seeing them or coaching them and then coaching against them, but also just, as a father too, and being that close to see your kids go through that minor hockey system and then onward and upward as they have over the last number of years here.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, very enjoyable, very informative, fun. I'm still learning lots about the game. And when I first broke into the NHL, it was, strength and trying to get faster and power and a little bit more A to B speed, that was talked about, and that you're just trying to get faster, stronger. You can't help if you're to get bigger or whatever, but that you're trying to, a little bit trying there. But, the game has evolved. The guys are more the skill set with YouTube and being able to study it and all those things. The skill set has come up, and also with skating, being able to dissect it and break it down. There's more about shin angle and outside edges and how you can have a better glide and the different little things that go into it. And I enjoy that. It might bore some people, but I enjoy that. And I've been able to it's been awesome to work with my own kids, but also with the players I teach or coach, and get to try to help them move on and get better. And they're very passionate about it too. So it's also been cool. On the other side is I started, say, in Pee Wee, and now being, say, 6 years ago with Tej, some of those guys, you play against Celebrini, is one of the highest ranking guys for the 06 for next year's draft, and Yzerman. We saw him in Boston, played them in state championships, and it's kind of neat to see them progress, and other guys that are on the NDP program that you get to be a part of and get to coach. So it's really cool, and it's nice to see that progression, but it's also fun to watch and learn from them and see how they, and it doesn't give me, all the knowledge that, say, all the scouts have, but maybe there's some things that Connie can ask or lean on, and maybe I'll have a a few tidbits about some of those guys coming up.
For sure.
Not to get sidetracked too much, but it's funny you're talking about some of the talent. We were in Penticton for the Young Stars Classic last fall, and we happened to catch a little bit of a Penticton V's practice. And we're looking over the ice and we see names like Richter and Nieuwendyk, and we're like, this is like an NHL All-Star game, just the new generation of things. So, I mean, from your perspective, you've seen a lot, especially out there, the talent and the quality of hockey players that are coming up these days. I mean, what can you say about that?
Yeah, it is. And like I say, it is a faster game, and it's evolving and the skill set of players, but it's neat when you talk to players and you talk to young guys wanting to get better. And I still think it comes down to, you got to do more than the next guy. If you want to be better, you got to do more. And that bar is raised. If when we were young, when I first broke into the league, there weren't that many guys into the NHL that were training in the summer. It was like you could put your skates away and just, go golfing, enjoy yourself. And then there was a few. I was just about that, Joe Sakic was working out hard, and guys were working out hard in the summer, but they were a few. And that bar got raised. Now you could never, you would stand out like a sore thumb if you didn't do anything all summer. So that keeps going up. And it's the same for kids, is that to their shot, you can see, I've seen videos say Pasternak hit a poker chip in a net. You know what I mean? That is a skill set, that you got to get. It separates guys, and it's practicing at home. It's practice at the rink, but what else can you do? And, not just an hour in the gym. It's literally, if you're a player trying to get better, you got to look at it and say, okay, what is everyone else doing? How can I do more? That's a theory. And then you got to have some, I guess, some knowledge and look and research about what that positive more is going to be, I guess.
Yeah, and some talent to go along with it. Obviously, you mentioned Craig's been busy. New head coach named this week, and Ryan Huska, a guy that you're familiar with, going all the way back to the junior days. I wonder sort of what your perspective of is of Coach Huska, and obviously kind of a unique perspective in that you kind of saw him in a leadership type of role back in your junior days on the way to Memorial Cups.
Yeah, I did. I'm very happy for Huska. I think he's going to do a great job. He's put a lot of good time, good learning in, been very successful, coached under, great coaches. So I think he's ready. But I also think back to when I was in junior, and I was a 16-year-old rookie, and I showed up. He was actually my first, one of the first players I billeted. I billeted with him and Nolan Baumgartner. And it was great. He was a 3rd-round pick of the Blackhawks. At the time when I came there, I thought that was the coolest thing. He was drafted into the NHL. Sure. I wanted to get drafted in the NHL, and he was very humble. He was, on our team, he was a strong leader, and it wasn't the same way. He wasn't always in our face. He was, as a young guy, he was very supportive. But if we got a little out of line, there was a few of us young guys, if we got out of line, he literally, when Husk talked to you, you knew you went too far, because, and you listened. So, he was an awesome guy to be under. We had Scott Ferguson played in the NHL for the Oilers, and those guys were they were great mentors. They cared about you as teammates, and you felt that. And they helped us. They helped us in our career to be able to go to junior and play under guys like that: Darcy Tucker, Tyson Nash. They won 3 Memorial Cups, which is pretty cool. But they also were awesome guys to watch, the competitiveness, how they carried themselves. And I was 16, but he still seems like, when you meet, it's still similar. When you look back, you're 18, yeah. We're not that much different. We're hopefully,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting you say that about Husk, because, I think we've heard that reputation, and we've seen it obviously here behind the scenes over the last few years. It's just such a, great guy, but how important is that to make sure that, that when he speaks up, or when that tone changes a little bit, that there has to be, some of that respect that goes along with that too. And obviously you saw that firsthand, as you described there.
Yeah. And as a player back then, he worked hard. He was able to do it because he was a hardworking guy. He battled, he competed, but he was, it's kind of neat when I look and you compare it, is he was a very good communicator. As an some of the older guys, they didn't always talk to you as a young guy, and you knew where you stood with Husk. And it's funny because now as a coach, that's what, as a player, you want to know where you stand. You want to know. I think communication is one of the biggest things. Is sometimes over my career or players, you think you're playing pretty good and the coach isn't happy and you're not sure why, or sometimes you think you're not playing well at all, you're not getting results, and the coach is happy, and it's just a matter of continuing that, but you don't know. And if you can get on that same page, some of the best coaches I had that I look back on, you didn't always like what you heard, but at the same time, you knew where they stood, you knew when they were happy with you, and that went a long way. And so I think Husk is going to be a really good communicator, and everything I've heard from guys that have had him before and are currently already with the Flames that's one of his strengths. And I think that's a big one as a coach.
I love what you said there about how you didn't always like what you heard, and sometimes that's necessary. So we talked to Rasmus Anderson the other day, who had Ryan Husk as head coach in Stockton his first year. He talked about how it was a bit of a struggle at times because he came into camp out of shape. He didn't necessarily like the feedback he was getting, but they started to build that trust, and over time he looks back and says, this is a guy that is the only reason I'm here today, because he pushed the right buttons and really had his best interest at heart the whole time. So I'm curious, from your perspective, is that a necessary thing in coaching and in leadership?
I think it is. I think it really is. And I think that also to go with that is that to recognize that communication path is a little bit different for all players and people. We're not all the same. We don't all have the same personalities. So I think a really good coach is a good communicator, but also being able to connect with the players and build those relationships. And, when I hear comments like treat everybody the same, it is, yes, we all have the same rules when you're on a team. You do. We know there's rules and, standards that you want to keep. But at the same time, everybody brings something a little bit different, and here's the difference. Some people are really sensitive, some people aren't. And I think you learn that in youth hockey, and I think you learn it through junior and all the way through, is that part. I remember seeing Martin St. Louis, his comments, like, hockey is still hockey. And I know it's like, you can already see he's going to be a very successful coach, but he's a really good communicator. And you can tell that, to go with his knowledge, he builds relationships. You can see what he's doing with Cofield, and that sounds like Husk is doing that too. So yeah. I think it is a huge part. And some of my favorite coaches, even though day to day you might be battling with them, they were honest guys, but I also felt like they liked me, and I think that's an important part too.
You wanted the bear to be poked a little bit before a game? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, no. I don't think I liked it, but I guess sometimes also when you look back, it's like, I guess, isn't that what teens and kids and appreciate things a lot more too, as you see where the angles where guys were coming from. So no, I some days I think I would have been one of those. The coach really would have had to been on his toes, because some days I would be like, want to kick, and then maybe other days they could help me along if the confidence was down. So
nice, balanced approach. I like it. I like it.
Well, we'll round it out here with you, Jarome, and let you get on with things. But just kind of circle back to Craig, and you mentioned communication. I think that's obviously, as you start to kind of outline and define, what the role looks like right now and moving forward. But just Craig he made a point to say that you guys always, and as you talked about, I mean, you discuss things all the time and don't always agree, and that's kind of part of this too. Is you want guys who can push. And to have their opinions and for the betterment of the organization. Maybe just do you have, what are those conversations? How do you envision those with Craig kind of moving forward and the rest of the Flames management staff?
Yeah, really, it's especially with Craig. The relationship we have, I think it's going to be a real positive. I think that you guys know him well. He's exactly he talks, right? He's going to let you know how he feels. If he needs me to do something, I don't doubt he's going to have no problem asking me, and I will try to do my best to help him. So I think it's pretty. Right now, I'm still waiting, as far as the different details and where I can help him.
Sure,
but definitely, if we always talk hockey and try to share ideas and really just about anything hockey. And that general manager. job, as you guys know, that's a big one, and it encompasses a ton, and technical parts to relationships to the day-to-day players and stuff. So anywhere I can help in any way, I look forward to trying to help them, and I'm really excited about the chance to work alongside them and to keep helping the organization keep getting better and better.
That's awesome. And by the way, before we wrap things up, we hear you're going to be in Nashville. Just like open invitation, just a heads up, we might be going boot shopping with Michael Backlund. So keep that in your back pocket. Invites open. So join us, please.
I appreciate it. I got one pair. I got the same pair I think I got in my when I was 20 years old. They still fit very, very hard to get on, though.
Okay. Yeah. Well, dust them off and bring them to Nashville, and then eventually to Calgary after that.
Yeah.
Listen, appreciate the time. Congratulations again, and really looking forward to seeing you around the organization and around the building more often.
Thanks, Brendan. Thanks, Ryan.